Hello and welcome to Sip and Savor, a campaign in celebration of European wines and deli meats. I'm your host, Dana Beninati, chef and sommelier, here to guide you through all of the nuances that separate raw, cured deli meats, cooked deli meats, and how best to pair them with European wines. Today, we're diving into the world of cooked deli meats. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our campaign, Sip and Savor. This is a 3-year initiative in partnership with IVSI and the consortium that oversees Wines of Roero. I want to take a moment to talk about quality seals that you can find not only on European deli meats, but on tons of European agricultural products so that you can recognize them in the store. So there are 2 you should be mindful of, and there are acronyms that represent both, PDO and PGI. PDO stands for Protected Designation of Origin. And what this means is that every single step in the production process of whatever that product may be has occurred in a defined area that is known for representing tradition and historical practices in the production of this item, right? So if you're eating a PDO salumi, then you know 100% every step of that product was done in a specific and designated place. If you see a European deli meat that has a nice blue seal, that stands for PGI, Protected Geographical Indication. And this is also fantastic. The difference is that only at least one step of the whole production process has to occur in a designated area. Could be more than that, but at least one. So when you think about where you are purchasing products to feed your families and how you are spending your dollars, this is what I hope to be, if you take away anything from our time together in this seminar, a big takeaway for you. That you know to seek out and to look for PDO and PGI products because you know you are directly supporting historical artisans that are making these things the way they always have been made and the way they should be made. Now, over the next 2 slides, you'll see a list of the PDO deli meats and PGI deli meats. There are deli meats that have yet to be categorized as PDO or PGI, and you'll also see a difference in the font here. You might say, Dana, what are you, crazy? The difference is the bold typeface, the bolded names on both the PDO and PGI slides are the products that are readily available to us here in North America, meaning they're already being exported out and imported into our country. If the name remains in italics, that means you're going to have to wait until you're boots on the ground in Europe to try those products, but be mindful of them. In fact, seek them out. Wherever you're seeing PDO or PGI European deli meats, ask them for one of those that are in italics because it takes consumer demand to get these amazing products across the pond. When we're talking about deli meats, you can really divide the category into 2 different approaches, and that is raw or cured deli meats and cooked deli meats, which are the starlet of today's seminar. Now, if you are looking at a gorgeous charcuterie platter and you're wondering, which of these are raw or cured and which of these are cooked, the easiest way to identify visually is, generally speaking, the texture. Raw cured deli meats have a much firmer, harder texture. Think about a piece of hard cured salami. Whereas cooked deli meats are softer. The meat often takes on the feeling of being emulsified. Think about a nice, soft, delicate piece of prosciutto cotto or mortadella. Now, there are a few other differences between raw cured deli meats and cooked deli meats other than texture. Cooked deli meats require refrigeration and, generally speaking, have a shorter shelf life in comparison to their cured counterparts. Either way, deli meats in general have a longer shelf life than a traditional raw protein. We're starting with what is indisputably the most popular of the cooked European deli meats, and that is prosciutto cotto. Now, prosciutto cotto is made from pork thigh, but this is not from your average pig. We are talking about big boys, pigs that weigh anywhere between 160 to 180 kilograms. To put that into perspective for a North American audience, that is a 350 to 400 pound pig, which means one single thigh can weigh anywhere between 20 and 30 pounds. So once we've identified these big pigs that have the correct body shape for the making of prosciutto cotto, and we debone the thigh, we can actually begin the process of making this cooked deli meat. And that process kicks off with a multi-needle syringe. It's a machine that's used to properly brine this really big piece of meat. Once the thigh goes through this process, it goes into a process of massaging. In this case, it's a process known as the zongolatura. Think about like a really big washing machine that is ensuring that that brine is really reaching every deep tissue of this pork thigh. After it's massaged, it's placed into cast iron molds, which help create this iconic rounded shape that you will always see with prosciutto cotto. And it is steamed at a very low temperature to really begin that cooking process. It's happening at 167 degrees Fahrenheit for about 9 to 12 hours. So very low heat, very slow, long cook time, which leads to the delicate texture that you will always see in a prosciutto cotto, especially when it is cut beautifully thin. But if you want to use it in a recipe, you have got to try adding it to your Russian salad. Now, if you haven't had Russian salad, I need you to think about a potato salad, but on steroids. We've got gorgeous veggies and hard-boiled egg, and when you add a touch of prosciutto cotto, it takes what is already a delicious dish to a whole nother level. Okay, next up, and I would be remiss to have a class about cooked deli meats and not talk about my dad's favorite, mortadella. I have to tell you, mortadella has a very distinct aroma, and growing up, whenever my dad was eating it, I immediately knew it's mortadella o'clock. Now, I certainly appreciate it a lot more than I used to because it has such an unmistakable flavor, and the way it's made is super cool, so let me tell you about it. A mortadella, the name of it comes from moratorium, and it pays reference to a mortar, you know, like a mortar and pestle. This is a homage to the texture that makes mortadella so unique. The texture is because the meat used to be ground using a mortar and pestle before there were machines that we use today that actually grind it in 3 different ways. In the end, whether it's done by hand or mechanically, the texture we're looking for when it comes to mortadella is something super creamy, like there's almost an emulsion happening. And this is all before the mortadella is formed, cooked, and then showered to cool. Now, you might notice mortadella not by the scent, but by sight, because you will see that there are these gorgeous chunks of what we call lardelli, and these are actually pieces of fat. And what they do is offer this sweetness to the overall flavor of the mortadella that is so beautiful. The one that I have here is studded with peppercorns and pistachios. My dad loves pistachios, so he's gonna be really excited with that. So in any kind of pasta dish, as I mentioned, it's going to add a beautiful salty, savory, porky note. But if you wanted to take a mortadella and make it into a mousse and then pipe it or layer it in a millefeuille, right? Like envision a lasagna, super soft layers of pasta, accented with a mortadella mousse, that would be incredible. Mortadella has always been a category of deli meat in and of itself, and it is not made from leftover scraps. In fact, this is one of the highest categories of cooked deli meats available to us. There are 2 mortadellas that carry the PGI certification. Funnily enough, one of them is called Mortadella Bologna, coming from the name of the region that initially was very responsible for creating a lot of mortadella, and the other is mortadella di Prato. Either way, both of them carry that PGI quality seal, and most mortadella, if not coming from those two specific regions, is coming from the north or central part of Italy. Now, modern mortadella today is not what it used to be 15 to 20 years ago. Because of refinement in the production process, there has been a big sizable increase in the amount of protein in mortadella and a sizable decrease in fat, salt, and cholesterol. Great news for my dad and all of us mortadella lovers. Now we're moving into cotechino and zampone, cooked deli meats that have quite a legendary history. Back in the 1500s, when there was tons of invasions happening all over Europe, troops belonging to Pope Julius II were invading little towns in Emilia-Romagna. And thankfully, there was a very clever chef that came to the aid of the local townspeople when they realized that they just had a few pigs left to feed all of the townspeople during this invasion. That very clever cook decided somehow that he could save or preserve the leaner cuts of the pig by hiding them in the pork skin of the leg portion of a pig. Nowadays, cotechino is no longer stuffed into the skin of pig legs, but zampone still is. Either way, these meats are virtually the same, but cotechino comes as a cylinder without the foot included, and zampone, which we don't yet have in North America, is the same meat wrapped fully in the skin of the pig leg, foot included. So a little bit different, but both equally delicious. Here in the US, we are lucky to have cotechino, and this meat is a combination of lean cuts of pork meat, a little bit of rind, and a little bit of fat, all mixed together. I love to serve either cotechino or zampone around the New Year's holidays. It goes especially well with things that we're meant to eat around this time of year: lentils, potatoes, wilted greens, and pork is always a sign of abundance and prosperity, hopefully, in the new year to come. If you are looking to prepare cotechino, you'll usually see it in a grocery store in two ways: fresh or pre-cooked. Now, the fresh obviously has to be cooked a little bit longer. You need to heat it for 2 hours, whereas the pre-cooked is ready to rock and roll. It just takes a little bit of heating, about 20 minutes. If you're looking to use it in a recipe, I love to break it apart and add it to a stuffing that I fill into fresh summer squashes or a butternut squash around the holiday season. The delicate, rich savoriness of cotechino really perfumes all of the stuffing and seeps into the flesh of the squash, making it the best version of that dish possible. Now, if you're looking for something with a quality certification, look towards the area of Modena. That is where you will find PGI qualified both cotechino and zampone. But you can find regional variations on both of these meats throughout Italy. So I encourage you to taste your way through as many of them as possible because they are all delicious. My absolute favorite way of featuring zampone in a recipe kind of pays homage to my grandmother, who made the most incredible broths that always had little agnolotti or ravioli in them. They were the absolute best. She always told me that a key secret was the use of zampone in her broth to give it incredible flavor. So here you'll see a recipe for agnolotti dumpling, an incredibly historical recipe made with a zampone broth. Not my Nona's recipe, but a very fantastic version that I strongly encourage you to give a try. And on behalf of the Sip and Savor campaign, I invite you to keep reaching for European deli meats and European wines. They are the perfect marriage of tradition and beautiful biodiversity that represents all of the gorgeous things that I want to eat when I'm gathering around a table with my family. Thanks for tuning in and see you soon. Ciao!